I used to believe my home was a safe place, a space where loyalty and love were the foundation of everything we had built. My wife, Emily, and I had been married for nearly 15 years. We raised two beautiful daughters together, teenagers who looked up to their mother as a role model, and to me as their steady provider. To the outside world, we looked like the perfect family. But behind that polished surface, cracks were forming. Cracks I hadn't noticed until it was too late. It started with small things. Emily became distant, brushing me off when I asked how her day went. She stayed late at the office more often, and when she came home, she seemed tired but oddly energized, glowing in a way that didn't come from work stress. At first, I dismissed it as the pressure of her new project. I trusted her, perhaps too much, and never imagined she could betray me. But then came the lies. One evening, I overheard our daughters whispering in their room. "Mom said we shouldn't tell Dad," one of them murmured. My stomach dropped. What secret could she possibly be keeping from me that even our daughters were sworn into silence? I wanted to confront them right there, but I held back. I didn't want to scare them. Instead, I went to Emily. "Is there something going on that I should know about?" I asked gently. She looked me in the eye, smiled that sweet smile I had fallen in love with years ago, and said, "No, of course not. You worry too much." But the seed of doubt was planted, and it began to grow. The turning point came one Friday night when she claimed she was working late again. Hours passed, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I drove to her office, but the building was dark. My chest tightened as I sat in the parking lot, realizing she wasn't there. Where was she? When she came home after midnight, her hair slightly undone, lipstick smudged, and perfume stronger than usual, I felt the truth pressing down on me. I wanted to believe her excuses, but deep inside I knew. My wife wasn't working late, she was with someone else. And yet, the cruelest part was still to come. It wasn't just her betrayal that shattered me. It was realizing my daughters already knew. The next morning, I tried to act normal for the girls, but my mind was spinning. I kept replaying her smudged lipstick, her evasive smile, the way she smelled like cologne that wasn't mine. I needed answers. So I watched more closely. Her phone always locked and face down. Sudden meetings that stretched into late evenings. A nervous energy around me, but a strange, secretive closeness with our daughters. One night, while Emily was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message flashed across the screen. "Last night was unforgettable. Same time tomorrow." My breath caught in my throat. The sender's name? Mr. Roberts, her boss. I felt the ground vanish beneath me. All those late nights, the sudden confidence, the glow. It wasn't ambition or career pressure. It was an affair. With her boss. I couldn't hold it in anymore. At dinner, I looked at her directly and asked, "Are you sleeping with him?" The fork froze in her hand, her face paling. The silence was deafening, but before she could answer, our youngest daughter blurted, "Dad, please don't be mad at Mom." My chest burned. They knew. My daughters had been keeping her secret, shielding her while I was left in the dark. Emily's eyes filled with tears, but her words cut like a knife. "I didn't want you to find out this way." That was all the confirmation I needed. "How long?" My voice thundered across the table. "A few months," she whispered. "It just happened. He understands me, David, in ways you never did." The girls cried, begging me not to break the family apart, but I could hardly hear them. Every word Emily spoke was another stab. "He understands me in ways you never did." The woman I sacrificed for, the mother of my children, reduced me to a placeholder in my own marriage. The betrayal was bad enough, but her arrogance lit a fire in me. She didn't even look ashamed, more like someone caught in an inconvenient truth. My daughters clung to her, as though I was the villain for finally seeing the reality they had hidden. I realized then that my marriage wasn't just broken. It had been rotting for months, maybe years. And the people I trusted most had been part of the cover-up. But if Emily thought I would collapse, she was wrong. I wasn't about to let her and her boss define the rest of my life. That night I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room, staring at the shadows on the wall, feeling like a stranger in my own house. The woman I loved had betrayed me. My daughters, the ones I thought I could always trust, had chosen silence over honesty. The weight of it all pressed on my chest until it was hard to breathe. In the morning, I called my lawyer. The words tasted bitter, but they carried strength I hadn't felt in months. I want to file for divorce. When Emily came downstairs, she looked almost relieved, as if she expected me to forgive her again, to swallow the betrayal and pretend nothing had happened. But when I handed her the papers, her expression shifted from confidence to panic. "You're really doing this?" she asked, voice trembling. I looked her in the eyes. "You destroyed our marriage, Emily. You involved our daughters in your lies. You didn't just betray me, you betrayed this entire family. And now I'm done." Tears slid down her cheeks, but I felt nothing but emptiness. She tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. "No more lies. No more excuses. Pack your things." Our daughters rushed into the room, sobbing, begging me not to go through with it. "Dad, please. We didn't want to hurt you. We just wanted to protect Mom." Their words twisted the knife deeper. Protect her? From what? Being accountable for her choices. She used you to cover her betrayal. That's not protection. That's manipulation. For once, Emily had no clever response. She stood silently, realizing the web she spun had finally collapsed. I signed the final documents that week. Each stroke of the pen felt like cutting through the chains I had worn for years. Painful, yes, but freeing. The house grew quieter without her constant lies, without the tension that had poisoned every dinner, every conversation. People say betrayal breaks you, but that's not true. It reshapes you. It hardens the parts that were too soft. It sharpens the edges dulled by blind trust. Emily thought I would crumble, but instead, I stood taller. The last time I saw her, suitcase in hand, she whispered, "I never thought you'd actually let me go." I met her eyes one final time. "You didn't give me a choice. But now, I finally have mine." As the door shut behind her, I felt the silence again. But this time, it wasn't suffocating. It was peace.